Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks.
Today's episode takes us to a place just north of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The small town of Water Valley is not exactly prime grizzly territory. In fact, this area is not even in the mountains. The location is seated on the western edge of the plains that cover central Canada, but there are vast forests of maple, oak, pine, fir, and spruce trees around town. The terrain is rolling hills and is called the foothills of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Deer, elk, caribou, bison, and moose nibble the plant life, and coyotes, wolves, and grizzly bears are known to roam this area searching for prey. On May 25, 2021, 68-year-old Barbara Collister was preparing to go for a walk near her home. She had an acreage on the edge of the town with private trails meandering within its boundaries. She enjoyed hiking on the trails and was the first woman to graduate with a master's degree in business administration from the University of Calgary. She parlayed this degree into a career as a project manager for the Alberta Health Services and retired in 2016. Barbara was known by her friends and family as a loving and kind person with a beautiful soul. She was born on February 5, 1953 in Dinsmore, Saskatchewan, and was the second child of her proud parents. She and her husband, Doug, had lived at their 114-acre property on Owl Ridge for 32 years and enjoyed nearly every minute of it. They later dedicated the property as a nature conservancy. On the day in question, Barb was out for a hike on her property. She had never had problems with bears in this area, so she felt safe hiking without bear spray or a firearm. She enjoyed hiking and being outside in general. As she was hiking along the trail, she had no idea of what dangers lurked in the bush near her. She came around a small bend in the trail and could see a huge grizzly bear closing on her from a short distance. She watched as its shimmering coat shook with each stride as it bounded toward her. Her last memories were of watching the bear's claws dig into the soil as it streaked toward her. At about 7 p.m., a call came into the local police office. The caller was reporting a dead woman and wanted to have the police come investigate and recover the woman's body. After arriving at the scene, the police officers noticed that Barbara was in fact dead and had been buried in a bear's food cache. When a bear hunts a human for food, it kills them, then covers the corpse in duff and sticks to keep other animals away from it. They protect these food caches with their lives sometimes, and are known to be aggressively defensive of their food sources. The grizzlies in this area do not have the benefit of a seasonal salmon run like the bears in the Canadian Rockies a short distance away. If they are not strong enough to migrate west to claim and defend a salmon fishing spot, then they have to find food near them. This forces them to wander far and wide in search of enough calories to pack on the weight they will need to survive hibernation. As you can imagine, this takes a toll on the bears and creates a desperate situation for older, less mobile bears. Desperate grizzlies rarely make good company to human beings. As the authorities investigated Barbara's death, they placed culvert traps in the area and monitored the area for bears moving through. They also posted warning signs and public notices to warn visitors away from the location. They followed up on reports of a sow with a single cub in around Barbara's acreage. They caught 2 female bears over the next few days and hoped that one of the bears they had caught would be found to be Barbara's killer. The first sow that was caught in the culvert traps was found to be a younger, healthy grizzly with a single cub. The authorities pulled DNA evidence from her claws and fur to analyze for Barbara's DNA evidence on the bear. After the analysis, this sow was removed from the authorities' list of bears who may have killed Barbara. She and her cub were released to a new location farther away from human settlements. The older sow was also scrubbed for DNA evidence on her claws. After analysis, she was found to be the bear who killed and cached Barbara. She was immediately euthanized, and her body was analyzed in a necropsy. She was found to be lactating but did not have cubs, as the amount of milk she was able to produce was not sufficient to feed a cub. She had rotten and worn-down teeth and was very advanced in age. Her frame was large but was well past her prime, losing a substantial portion of her muscle and fat due to age. Shortly after catching the 2 sows and the cub, the authorities removed the culvert traps and rescinded public warnings to avoid the area. After reviewing the manner in which Barbara's body was partially buried, authorities were conflicted. The fact that the bear had buried her body was a telltale sign of a predatory attack. Later, they revised their decision, though, and classified the attack as a defensive attack. They believed that Barbara had surprised the bear in such a way that the bear acted in self-defense initially, but then decided to cache her remains for consumption later. Barbara's attack occurred just 24 kilometers from where the grizzly bear attack on David Lertzman occurred. We covered his attack on this channel previously, and it is linked below if you would like to review it for comparison. While looking at the grizzly bear attack statistics in Alberta, I couldn't help but notice that the trend line for these attacks has increased substantially over the last 20 years. From the period of 1958 to 2022, there have been 18 fatal grizzly attacks with an uptick in the last 22 years, indicating 7 fatal bear attacks there. That puts 40% of fatal grizzly attacks in the province having occurred in the last 22 years. Statistically, bear attacks on humans have increased by an average of 1 per year to a total average of 3 bear attacks in each of the last 3 years. Many people attribute this uptick in bear attacks to an increase in people traveling into the backcountry, but that doesn't diminish the obvious threat posed by bears to visitors. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I have a few questions for you. Do you think the grizzly bear attack on Barbara Collister was a predatory or defensive attack? Did the age and poor condition contribute to factors leading to Barbara's attack? Do you think this attack would have been avoided if Barbara would have been carrying bear spray? Would a firearm have changed the outcome? I will be glad to read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.